adventure is about to start. It's live stream time, so away we go. A different open. Please don't stop hoping. A big girl opening for the Big Girl Show.
And we're live. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Big Girl and Friends. We are delighted to see you this evening on May the 2nd, Saturday, May the 2nd, and we are concluding our 6th week of exciting adventure. This is amazing. Can hardly believe that we've had 6 glorious weeks of wonderful guests. And as you know, this has been an ongoing fundraiser for the Actors Fund of Canada at the website afchelps.ca. The Actors Fund of Canada is a glorious organization that supports artists in front of the camera, in front of the stage, and behind the scenes during this COVID-19 time when we're not able to do our wonderful vocation and meet with the people. So we are very grateful to all the donors who have generously given to this organization throughout the last 6 weeks. If you're able to contribute tonight, we would happily, graciously welcome your support, whether it's $5, $10, $100, or $1,000. Every single dollar helps, and it supports this incredible organization that's supporting the artistic community from coast to coast. We've got some excited people here tonight. Good evening, Susanna. Someone's excited about our guest. Bonjour, Alison Plamondon, ça fait longtemps, bonjour. And Beatrice, hello. Well, listen, I unfortunately am sending apologies to our beautiful viewers on behalf of my regular co-host, Mr. Ryan Kelly. He had a horrible technological issue. It looks like his Apple ID got hacked and his computer went to hell in a handbasket. So he's been having technological difficulties all day. So I am thrilled that another crazy fella stepped into the role of co-host this evening. My guest doesn't know that this person is co-hosting this evening, so I'm excited to see his expression backstage because you can't see it yet. And I would like to welcome back to the stream a guest from earlier this week, the artistic director of the Charlottetown Festival, a good friend of ours. Welcome, Mr. Adam Brazier.
Yes. Hello, Christopher. I have far too much time on my hands.
Adam Brazier, use the force. It will guide the web stream.
Honestly, I have way too much time on my hands. But I heard you were having EDDIE GLEN over tonight, and I was like, I got to be there for that.
Oh, my Lord, Thunder and Jesus. Fresh from the Homer, so the Simpsons set to Charlottetown, Prince Edward Island. How have things been on the island since last we met?
Well, I knew it. Oh, end it, Sarah Jean. Good. Things are fine. You know, we've.
I just had it like a total lightheaded. I almost stroked there. I was so excited with everything that's happening right now. Okay, so go ahead, Adam.
No, things are fine here. It's been what, 48 hours?
Yes, 48.
I'm still here.
You are still here.
No more. We still have no COVID cases coming up on the island here. We're doing very well.
None.
We're very lucky here. Yeah.
Are there no cases on the island?
There have been. I think there's been 28 in total, but they've all recovered.
Oh, that's wonderful.
And they are all in part with travel. None of it has been community. So we're very, very lucky here, and we have a lot of opportunities because of that. So every day is really just Zoom meetings and finding out what opportunities and when, and trying to plan, you know.
Being a talking head on the Simpsons couch it's a whole new world.
Oh, I got tons of them, man. When I said I had too much time on my hands, you have no idea.
Oh, I'm excited. Well, this is the.
You can make it look like a picture. I can make it look like a Sears portrait if I do this.
You look like you got beheaded in the medieval times. Oh, this is so good. Oh no, are you kidding me? Okay. We have got to stay on track. You are going to keep the love going. This is, oh my God. Okay. What was I going to say? Oh, I was going to say that. Okay, stop.
Sorry.
No, it's my ADHD now. I was going to say that I'm not sure who was the person that was more fortunate, myself or my dear partner Gavin's cranium, because today was the fated date for the COVID cut, the haircut. But the sunshine did not prevail today. The meteorologist lied to us, and it was a bit of a gray, drizzly day. So Gavin's cranium, it didn't fall prey to my wheeling hand. I felt like Sweeney Todd. But so there may be photos, but fortunately, while we continue to be in self-isolation and quarantine, if I screw it up, he can just wear a hat. So it's all good.
We're all there, man. We're all in the. I've been cutting my own, and I did cut my youngest's hair. And you know what? The front is not bad. The back is a bit of a hack job.
I'm not touching the top. I'm just going to say.
He doesn't know.
That's awesome. Well, listen, we need to bring on our guest. So, guest, this is your 2-second call. We are delighted to welcome a good friend of Adam's, a good friend of mine, this fabulous, funny guy. He is also, he's got a heart of gold, but he has been seen, he'll tell us, I think in close to 16 seasons of Ross Petty's Panto, downtown Toronto, the annual holiday celebration. This man is one of my faves. Please welcome to the stream this evening, the fabulous, the talented, the goofball, Mr. EDDIE GLEN.
Oh, wow. What a dreamboat.
Hey, everybody! You know what? This quarantine's making me crazy. So remember to do everything you normally do, especially brush your teeth.
Personal hygiene.
I don't think I'm going to get through. I feel like I've got the COVID, right?
Well,
not funny.
Just, I'm still trying to figure out this left and right thing, but here we are. Welcome.
Okay.
Hi.
Adam, I'm bringing you right back in. I'm going to put him in the middle. Put him in the middle. There he is. Oh, my God. Oh, hi, Eddie. Where are you? Where are you in the world right now? What city are you in? Tell us.
I'm in Toronto in my apartment.
Okay. So we are both in the same city, and Adam's joining us from the East Coast.
Hey, buddy.
Ooh. How's it going, pal?
I haven't seen you since, I don't know, my wedding.
Maybe.
And wasn't Eddie a groomsman at your wedding?
Yeah. And he's also going to be a pallbearer, but he doesn't know that yet.
Who knows?
So Eddie, I know. So tell us. So you've been are you all by your lonesome in your apartment?
I'm in an isolationship with myself. Yes, I am. In my apartment in Toronto.
And how have you been weathering your isolationship? Have you been making love alone, save on cologne? That's Sarah. That's
personal.
Tribute to Sarah Jane.
I know.
Hosey. Anyway.
Well, doing whatever we can every day. I'm still recording YTV once a week, which is great.
Awesome.
From my home. So sometimes going in, sometimes from home, which is great. Watching a lot of old television. You know what's really good? Frasier. I wish I was kidding. But anyway. And then, just doing what we can. I mean, I've become quite a little cook, which is good. Thanks to Jamie Oliver.
Yes, Jamie Oliver. Very good. We have the cookbooks, all of them. What tell our viewers what you do with YTV.
I am the voice of YTV in the interstitials, the things like basically when they say, coming up next, it's SpongeBob SquarePants on YTV. That's me. And that's been 22 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you don't look a day over 22.
What?
I brag to my kids every time we're watching YTV, to the point now where when Eddie's voice comes on the TV, they look at me and they're like, "We know, Dad. Go ahead."
Well, it is those. I do get friends and people calling me like saying, on Saturday mornings, I really dislike you. I'm like, yeah, I bet you do. In the zone on Saturday mornings on YTV. Coming up next. It's just so in your face, right? And it's
absolutely.
Keeps an apartment over my head. What? A roof over my head. That's
a roof over your head. Absolutely.
But it's also really creative. I don't know if how much you've watched Christopher, but like they have him singing songs, doing voices. They've got him doing like every kind of gymnastics with his voice you could imagine. It's that in itself is only because I know Eddie. That's what I listen for, and I have a riot. Yeah.
It's a typical Saturday night for EDDIE GLEN, kind of like tonight.
Yeah. Yeah, just be an idiot.
But that, my friend, is a career choice and a special skill on your resume.
Yeah.
I think he wanted
just-
Dora for it.
Yes, that's right.
No,
Adam-
I was nominated for it, Dora.
Oh,
Anyway.
Adam proclaimed his special skill was ADHD. So, there it is. A nomination.
I didn't win it, but there it is. I have 2 of them. Anyway, no. Just to clarify, Christopher, I have done 17 of the Ross Petty shows.
Yes, you had told me. The gray beard, the senility. 17.
Yeah. So this. Well, yeah, 17.
That's a lot of funny.
Well, some years it was really funny. You know, other years Adam was in it.
Yeah. Well,
Because true.
Well, the only panto that I performed in was in 2003 with you two fellas, and that was Cinderella, and 2003 because it was just before I got married, and then subsequently divorced. But we won't talk about that. But how did you? We talk about COVID connections. How did you two crazy fools meet? Where did you guys first meet? I mean, since we talked about, look at you, you're both like, where did Adam Brazier and Eddie Glen first encounter one another in the professional theater world?
It was behind a dumpster at No Frills.
Don't tell people that. That's not public knowledge.
Eddie was working part-time.
I was stacking shelves.
Where did you guys meet? In all seriousness,
we met doing Deliverance, the musical, actually.
Yeah.
We met doing Ross Petty. It was during
with Ross Petty.
Was it that season? Was it the same year that I worked with you guys?
Yeah, that was which was your first one, Adam?
The first one was Cinderella, but I was the prince.
And I was not in that one with you.
Right. That was Dawn Heron and
So and then was it Aladdin?
Eddie, you were in it because I did the panto with you, and the only one I did was with Adam.
No, that was when I was the prince, Christopher. I did it again like a decade later, and I was an ugly stepsister.
But okay. I thought you were the prince with Jen.
Yeah.
Well, that was the one I did. Wasn't Eddie in that one?
No, we did sort of a panto together. We did Pirates of Penzance.
That's right. We did. You know what? You're right, Eddie. You and I didn't do the panto. That's weird. Anyway, so it was.
We did that production of Three Sisters. Remember? That was pretty panto.
That's 3 decades ago.
And of course, I know you two collaborated with Evan Bueling on one of Theatre 20's fantastic projects.
That's right. The Trial of Burke and Hare.
Yeah. That was a really, really cool. Yeah. Talk about that for a minute. I really, really enjoyed that show. Yes, I mean, it definitely had. There were some thematic connections, sort of thematic reminders of Sweeney Todd. But I really, really enjoyed that production. What was that like, collaborating upon that adventure? And the writers, the writers were from out west.
Right here. I was from Winnipeg.
Winnipeg.
Joseph Aragon.
Joseph Aragon.
Yes. Well, I'll tackle that first. It was such a great treat to be a part of something brand new like that, working with Adam and also with an amazing cast like Evan and Trish and Jan and Carly, and like it went on and on. Dave Keeley, like it was amazing cast to be a part of, and to be able to try and do an Irish accent on stage every night was fun too. And there was some really beautiful songs in it, and it was just a really it was challenging, it was interesting, it was different, and it was I don't know, I think we together as a company we managed to do something that was actually pretty watchable, which is good for a new musical sometimes, you know. Sometimes they're tough. Adam, do you remember, I'll just tell a quick story. One of the nights we were William Burke and William Hare, and Plamondon says it was Aladdin that we met in.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Merci, Alison.
So we were William Burke and William Hare, and I was supposed to say to my wife, Jan, because Bueling was Burke, I was Hare, listen, the only person that William Burke cares about is William Burke. Well, I said, the only person that William Hare cares about is William Hare. I leave the stage, come back through the door and go, Burke!
in a highly dramatic
Fix it.
musical.
Because I thought that was going to fix it. And then I didn't even say I meant brick, just burn. And all he heard was Bueling and Trish Lindstrom laughing so hard. And
I feel compelled to share a little story. So, grade 13, I played, never should have, but I played Tony in my grade 13 high school production of West Side Story. First, and yeah, anyway. So it's like the opening of Act 2, and I've had this, this late night tryst with Maria, and my high school director instructed me to coyly do up my trousers underneath the bed sheet, and then, come out. I was just wearing my boxers, of course. Well, I managed to button my trousers over the bed sheet so that half the bed sheet was over the top of my trousers and the other half was through my fly of my pants. So instead of, with my stagecraft at the time, instead of, like unbuttoning my trousers so that I could just release, I proceeded to pull the bed sheet through my fly, kind of like, like a clown does when they, so in front of a capacity crowd, I'm literally like pulling the bed sheet through my crotch. And so it was very much like, Burke! That was my Burke.
Some kind of directorial symbolism of like the the essence of lovemaking as he pulls this cloth from his groin.
Yeah, that was one of my.
Actually, I'm going to put it in Anne.
It's a choice. Bold choice.
One more choice than I've made in about 10 years, Eddie.
Oh, bless.
If you want to go out in a blaze of glory.
Oh. For a brief pause, thank you to our beautiful first donor tonight, Beatrice Campbell, donating $10 to the AFC. Every cent helps. Thank you so much, Beatrice. So, Eddie, as I'd like to do, let's start at the very beginning. A very good place to start. How did you? I mean, I'm aware of your Scottish heritage, and you've got it all over your complexion and your face. But how on earth did you get into? I mean, you've been a sort of you've been a cornerstone of theater in Toronto for many years, as you've shared in your resume. But how did you get into the biz of show?
The biz of show.
Yeah, what brought you into this crazy world?
Yeah, it's funny. We always had, growing up, we always had music and like big band music and Danny Kaye films and stuff like that playing, and just music that was always really entertaining and fun to listen to. And I grew up in a house with 7 kids, so there was always chaos and mayhem. It was wonderful.
7.
7 kids, yeah.
And where are you? Where are you in the pecking order?
I am 5th.
Wow.
Yeah,
okay.
5th.
Smack in the middle.
That's right. Well, yeah. And so, like, we always had music like that. And Mom, both my sisters went to a choir school, and I really thought that was cool. So London also had another a choir school that I attended because theirs was anyway. Yes, St. Peter's Choir School in London, Ontario that I went to.
Is that where you're from? Are you from London?
London, Ontario. Yeah.
Okay.
So started singing and playing the violin, which I quickly gave up. And then, in London, they used to do these summer musicals in the park, Victoria Park Bandshell. And I did, when I was probably 7 or 8, I did The Music Man in the Bandshell. And another quick story, one night after the show, we were out at a cafe in London. I think it was called Blooms at the time, whatever, in London. Mom and Dad and I were sitting having tea and cake. I think it was Black Forest, which I love. And my mother said to me, "You having a good time with the show, son? You having fun?" And I said, "Yeah, Mom, I really am. You know what? I think this is why I'm here." And she says, "What do you mean?" And I said, "Well, I think this is why I'm here, to make people laugh and smile and have fun and do this."
Amazing.
She's like, "All right, then. All right. Well, okay. Well, we should get going. Check, please." And well, that was the very beginning of it. And all through high school, I did shows, and I just loved it. And I just was like, "Yeah, no, this is what I'm going to do."
There's a really strong that I've been aware of. I only did one contract at the Grand several years ago, doing Elf the musical, but I was aware of the community education that was happening there with. There was a theater company in the market there called, I think, is it called Young Kids or
Original Kids? to that extent. Original Kids didn't start, I think, until after I left, and that was a gentleman named Art Fiddler who started that.
Yeah.
But before that, there were always summer musicals, and all of the most of the high schools. There was only 3 maybe then at that point. We did a musical at the end of every year too, but no, nothing like that. It might have started just after I left.
Did you go to Beale by chance?
I went to Catholic Central.
Oh, Catholic school. You're a good Catholic boy for a Scottish lad. That's a bit of a that's a bit of a
That's
double.
a whole story we don't need to get into.
That's one we're not necessarily going to get into tonight. That's true.
That's a whole other musical.
Yeah, no, but I'm aware there's just been such a wonderful cultural foundation for young artists in your home community. So that's really, really cool.
Yeah, there really has been, and it's been great. And some wonderful people have come out of that city and are continuing to do so. And then the work that Dennis is doing there is great. So
yeah. So
it's
when you left London, where did your adventures take you? I mean, you had decided, your mother got the check, and when you left your hometown, where did your adventures proceed from there?
I came to Toronto. And I worked at Canada's Wonderland, but not what you might think. I was Barney Rubble.
Tell the story, Eddie. Can you tell the story about falling off the bridge?
So you know the old bridge going into Hanna-Barbera Land, which is what it was called at the time?
Yeah.
Barney Rubble, those costumes were big and sweaty and hot, and I couldn't see anything. You have 3-finger hands, and I sat on the bridge going into Hanna-Barbera Land. I thought, I'll invite kids to come and join us in Hanna-Barbera Land. Some kid came up and went, and off I went over the bridge into the water.
In your mouth?
In the costume. Oh, yeah. Nose breaks. So, and I could see the water coming in. I can't get up because I'm like, you have tiny little arms. I couldn't get up. So my chaperone had to come down and pick me up. I'm like, oh, no. So all they see is Barney with a broken nose and mud running back with these feet that are about, well, I can't do it. They're giant feet too, trying to get back behind the scenes so I could take it off. That was an expensive dry cleaning bill.
Wow.
That's how he got his equity card.
That's not how.
So
may as well have been.
So like many of our guests, did you started working professionally sort of out of the start gate? Did you go to any sort of formal post-secondary theater program or?
No. Well, I went to Humber College for 1 year for vocal jazz, but that quickly ended. And I transferred to the theater department halfway through, and then that quickly ended. And then I was 19 and I went to Charlottetown. So
you started at Charlottetown at 19 and you performed in Anne?
I did.
And
I was Moody Spurgeon McPherson.
And you're the perfect Moody.
It was 1986, and we did the national tour across the country that year too.
Wow, who was your Anne that season? I'm testing you.
Tracy Moore, I believe. Tracy Moore was my first Anne, and then Lisa Way was the Anne the next couple of years I did it.
And you were still you were working with Liz Mawson then, weren't you, in the role of Marilla?
Yeah,
of course.
Yeah.
And Fenn, of course, was still at the podium.
Fenn was at the podium, for all the years. Yeah, it was great. Yeah, it was.
Who was the artistic director at that time? Do you remember?
Alan Lund.
Oh, Alan was still there.
Yeah, my first year he was still there in 1986. Yeah, I know.
There's pictures of Eddie backstage. There's great pictures of Eddie in. There's one of my favorite pictures actually that I love to show to people when I'm taking them on tours. Is there's this picture and it's Eddie. It's got Eddie Glen, Monique Lund, Alex Moustakis. I think
Brian
Hogan.
Brian Hill, was he in there too?
Claire Rankin, probably.
Yeah, Claire Rankin, absolutely. Yeah. Anyways, it's just this amazing picture of all these people that are have gone on to have these incredible careers in the theater.
Yeah.
And it's just one photo, and it's just it's one I always stop at. And I'm always like, you see? And I show it to the young company every year. I'm like, every person in this photo has made a career out of this.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
it probably was Brian Hill because Brian was our Gilbert. So
I believe, because I think the reason I can picture, I think you guys are all posed in a kind of chorus line. Is that the one?
No, it's one. You're all. Is it from Babies the musical or something? What shows did you do? It is.
Pardon me. It was probably from Babies. It was Anne, Babies. And I think that was. Oh, the other show that year was Swing. that my sister was in.
Right.
Christine was in.
Right.
Right.
Oh,
That's
very
Christine was in.
cool.
Yeah.
What was Babies like?
Don't put me on the spot like that.
Enough said. We're good. Fair
It was
enough.
fun.
It was
We
a
had a lot
new.
of fun.
It was a new work. It was awesome. Well,
It was,
when
yeah, it was-
when you were thinking about music that you wanted to share with our lovely viewers on Big Girl and Friends, what show do you want to just share something with us, or do you want to set it up? It's your show, so however you want to roll, babe. But
okay.
it's music time, Eddie. It's music time.
Sing for yourself.
Or sing for the donations, ladies and gentlemen. Eddie's going to give us a song. You give us the donations.
I was thinking of what I could sing and what I would do and whatever. This song used to do it for auditions way back, and you'll see why I don't anymore. But no, it's the lyrics of this right now in what we're going through are quite apropos.
Thanks.
And I think you'll know it as soon as you hear it. You cool?
Awesome.
You ready?
Well, enjoy, babe. I'll give you the stream.
Forgive me with my technical. I might be pressing volume and all that kind of stuff. Here we go.
We got you.
Safe behind these windows and these parapets of stone, gazing at the people down below me. All my life I watch them as I hide up here alone, hungry for the histories they show me. All my life I memorize their faces, knowing them as they will never know me. All my life I wonder how it feels to pass a day not above them. Part of them, and out there in the sun, give me one day out. All I ask is one to hold forever. Out there, where they all live on, where would I what I dare just to live one day out there. Out there among the millers and the weavers and their wives, through the roofs and gables I can see them. Every day they shout and scold and go about their lives, heedless of the gift it is to be them. If I was in their skin, I'd treasure every instant out there, strolling my descent. Taste a morning out there, like ordinary men who freely walk about there, just one day and then I swear I'll be content with my share. Won't resent, won't despair, old and bent, I won't care. I'll have spent one day out
Bravo! You're so much cuter than a little hunchback.
My hair is, I'm not going to show you how long it is, but it could almost look like
I've
this now.
seen it in its glory.
Yes, you have, yeah.
So
Yeah.
when you were talking about coming to Charlottetown, I mean, at 19 years of age, Anne was a pretty dance-heavy show for you to be playing because you were one of the kids of Avon. So were you when you were doing shows in London? Did you start doing dance as well, or were you just dancing in context of the shows you were performing in?
Do you mean London, Ontario?
Yeah, before because literally London, Wonderland, Charlottetown, right? That's what you said.
That's right.
Yeah, but then he ended up going to the
not
West End of
really.
London.
Yes.
True, and we'll get there.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Yeah, not really. I didn't dance very much. You know, I mean, it was. I danced as much as I had to in shows like that in London, but no,
And then you did
even
and then you did
what,
the egg and spoon race 8 shows a week or 6 shows
yeah.
a week. Yeah.
Well, listen, we drilled that, drilled it in the rehearsal hall, and yeah, it was yeah. Again, I'll shout out to Claire Rankin. She was in the. I think it was her first season there too with me, and she just helped me in all like let's learn it. Don't miss a warm up. Don't miss a goal. Don't miss it. And man, oh man, it was hard, and they drilled us, but I got there. You know, I got there. One day we were doing the egg and spoon race, the egg and spoon race, and oh no, maybe one of those or the frog, or whatever. And I kicked my leg up, and suddenly I saw my leg above my head, and I was like, wow, I can't kick that high. And I couldn't, because next thing I know, I was on the ground. So I worked very hard at the dancing, and then a few years later, when I was in Charlottetown, I played Gilbert.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
I had a similar experience in Charlottetown in the Young Company outside during the show. As you know, I can kick myself above my head, but
yes,
I actually kicked myself in the head. So there were 2 hits. It was whack and then whack. So I actually took myself out by kicking myself in the forehead with my shin. It was magical in front of a capacity crowd. It was great.
Yeah,
It's a free show.
It's a free show.
Whatever.
So, because I mean, you did such a brilliant emulation of your lovely mother, who of course is from Scotland. Was your father also from Scotland?
Yes, both my parents were from Glasgow.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you obviously had a UK or a passport, or because Adam mentioned that you ended up over in the West End.
I did, yeah.
So,
I did have a British passport, which I was able to get way back then. It was 91, I think 91. I went over there.
mm-hmm.
End of 91, yeah. Yeah, and I just thought, at the time in Toronto, all the big musicals were coming in, and they're saying, we want someone who's just like the person who's doing it in London. I was like, well, I can go work there. Why don't I be the guy in London someone has to be like?
Absolutely.
Which wasn't that easy. But, so I packed my stuff up and I moved to London, England when I was 23 years old.
And just started auditioning.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah.
Was it tricky to get representation back then for you? To sort of get into the room?
Yes, it was. My agent here at the time was able to get me into a few from here, sort of in a roundabout way. And then I got representation. Once I got my first show, I got representation. So yeah, my first show, believe it or not, was a panto.
What?
I know. It was up in Sheffield. It was up in Sheffield. And it was The Wizard of Oz.
Oh, wow. Well, I was going to say, I mean, your parents growing up in Glasgow would have been, exposed to quite an epic tradition of panto. I remember when I studied over in Glasgow in, when was I there? 96, 97, I had never seen a British panto. So everything at that point was, of course, through the lens of North America. So I was, seeing this ancient tradition. So your parents would have grown up on that tradition. Had you been exposed to panto much in Canada in the way that it was presented in the UK prior to that?
No, because I don't really think there were any, when we were growing up and before before I left, and there may have been a few, but not that I ever really was exposed to it very much at all. No, but yeah, they for sure were. Like my mom and dad used to go to, well, they weren't together initially in Glasgow, but they would go to the Glasgow Music Hall and see pantos and shows all the time. And my mom said there was one great line she used to yell out, or not she did, but people would yell out when someone was rubbish. She'd go, "You don't get singing at a house party."
In a house party.
You wouldn't get singing at a house party. You'd not get singing at a house party.
I understood that.
Oh, such a name day.
That was the name day. Well, but so the other thing about being Scottish and being from overseas, theater to them was the West End, right? It was the West End. It was historically, right? So when I got my first West End show, which was Miss Saigon at Theatre Royal Drury Lane, I was like beside myself. It was one of those moments in this business where you just go, what just happened? What just happened?
Was
So
Leia still singing Kim at the time?
no, she had just left.
Okay.
I came in right near the end of the first year, and she had just left. But Simon Bowman was still doing it, and Claire was still doing it.
Right.
Jonathan had just left, and so yeah. But it was pretty amazing. So, and then my parents came over for my opening night in Miss Saigon.
Wow,
Drury
that's
Lane.
tremendous.
Yeah, it's one of those memories of the theater and being in this business where there's so many amazing things that I've been able to do and been very fortunate enough to do, but man, that call going into Drury Lane the first day at Stage Door Drury Lane, I was like, oh my god,
that's magic.
And then my other big show in London was at the London Palladium. I was like, what?
That's super exciting. I'm curious. Yeah.
I just dropped those. Yeah, I did.
Oh, that's wonderful. And it's so great. I mean, you've become quite iconically known, in your participation in Ross Petty's productions, as sort of the Buttons character, the sort of comic relief. Did you grow up? I mean, you have such a natural aptitude for impersonations and voice acting. I mean, did you grow up making quote unquote funny voices and playing around your whole life? Was this always part of the shtick at home?
The shtick at home. Well, for sure, because again, like I said, there were 7 of us, so it's like, how can I get noticed? How can I get noticed?
Yeah,
and also,
totally.
I was a big fan of cartoons and Mel Blanc, as you probably both know, did all of the voices on his cartoon way back.
Yeah.
Like, how does he do that? So yeah, you play with different voices and characters, and of course there was always the accents. The Scottish accent was fun to do, and
of course,
and try to learn how to do that. So yeah, it was. But yeah, I mean, I always sort of thought about like different voices and where you pitch it and stuff like that, and and it's gotten me here.
That's great. Well, when you did that first panto, The Wizard of Oz, up in Sheffield, were you playing a similar role? Were you already sort of on that comedy trajectory, or were you?
No.
Were you a Winky?
I was a dancer.
God, I'm a dancer. A dancer dances.
No, my version of that is God, I'm a singer who moves well. Getting somebody that moves well.
A 5, 6, 7, bye.
This is a box step. This is a pot of array.
That's great. Well, I just remember you and I and George Maswell in our final callback for Love Never Dies in New York, in that dance call with when the show that promptly closed. Never happened. But yes, I remember us all.
Never dries.
It's true, dancing our faces off together in New York City.
Oh yeah, that was something, wasn't it? That's another place I saw your big high kick. What can you do? Kick.
It's the first thing, right? Doesn't matter. Hi, I'm Christopher. Whap!
You got one gimmick. One. You gotta use it, right?
It's a good one.
I got high kicks and low notes. I'm my own yin and yang.
That's right.
I'm my own balanced duality. So when you were so you talked about comedy, was there, I mean, you spoke of, watching those old movies like Danny Kaye and all those incredible iconic performers. Was there a performer that you saw in your early years that really, is there like a performance or something that you saw aside from the shows in the park in London? When you started your career, was there someone that you aspired to be like, or someone who really, really was quite, but excited you and said, I want to do that or be like that person?
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, as I said, like my first professional show was at Charlottetown, and just watching the company and so many of the people who'd been there a few years, and watching Brian Hill work and watching David Rogers. And then I had the great pleasure years later of working with Dougie Chamberlain in that. And I, at Charlottetown, like one of the years Bill Hosey was there, and, it was just like, there were so many gifted veteran actors there, and just watching them was like, they would do this or this and get a completely different reaction and laugh. And they were gifted, like comedians. And all through my career, I've been fortunate enough to work with many of those people who just, like, you watch them on stage and you're like, oh, there's something's just different, right? And so I mean, in terms of aspiring to, I don't know. I mean, I always just wanted to be good enough to keep working.
Absolutely. Yeah, totally.
And so, yeah, sort of found a gimmick myself of being like the sidekick and sort of like doing voices. But again, later on, like guys like Martin Short and you know, that whole Second City team. I mean, those guys were brilliant. But Marty Short's, you know, he was genius. You know,
Absolutely.
I remember Alex Mistakis and I were in New York one time, and we went and saw Little Me, a little known show, Little Me, that Martin did in New York with Lorna Luft, I believe.
I saw that
intermission,
too.
Yeah, at intermission, we turned to each other and we're like, we need to do this show. So we did at Drayton with myself and Lisa Horner.
Oh, amazing.
Many years back, but wow.
Amazing casting.
Wow, that's exciting.
That's great casting.
Wow.
And a great show, and a fun show too, right? Like that's one of those ones where you know, I will say, and I should full disclosure to the viewers, I am the president, CEO, and chief marketing officer of the EDDIE GLEN fan club, the legendary funny man EDDIE GLEN fan club. Yeah, so I can speak volumes about his career, but yeah, I lost it.
Well, I was going to share, you know, I was so fortunate when I did my one season at Stratford and back in '95, and I was in the Gondoliers, both with Douglas Chamberlain and with Eric Donkin. They were both in the same show. And I just used to just hang out with them in their dressing room and just, you know, just revel in their stories. And that was the summer that Big Girl was born. So, you know, there was a lot to gain from those beautiful, you know, incredibly gifted.
That's it. Like watching veteran actors, like watching the older actors, just do their craft, like hone their craft, and in any discipline, whether it's comedy or drama or, you know, or opera, or like you just watch the people that have been there seasoned and have been doing it for their whole life, really, and you go, wow, it's not easy. It takes a lot of work, but they make it look so effortless, you know, and they're so wonderful at their craft. It's just like, wow, that's pretty brilliant.
Absolutely.
You know?
Well, as we were discussing about other things that you wanted to share tonight, you surprisingly shared with me that you wanted to share some spoken word, which is super cool because I think that'll be one of the first offerings in our 6 weeks of someone sharing some spoken word. So tell our viewers what you wanted to share.
And also, I mean, as you hear, I'm having some vocal issues at the moment, so I thought I'll do 2 songs, but I'll do some speaking. And well, I found an American poet a number of years back named Billy Collins, and he does some really irreverent, very interesting takes on life. Right? I don't know if you guys know him. He's a poet laureate from the U.S. Billy Collins. But this first poem that I found of his, I was trolling the internet one night when I couldn't sleep, you know. And as you do, yeah. And so the first one I came across was just a really fascinating. I just thought a really interesting tale of something that we all know very well. And the title of it is "I Chopped Some Parsley While Listening to Art Blakey's Version of Three Blind Mice."
Cool.
Right. But what I think I'd like to try, if you bear with me, I'll do it.
Of course.
But I'm gonna read it in the style of someone we may all know from Canadian folklore, from the Stuart McLean.
All right, we'll give it to you.
And I start wondering how they came to be blind. If it was congenital, they could be brothers and sister. And I think of the poor mother, brooding over her sightless young triplets. Or was it a common accident? All three caught in a searing explosion, a fireworks perhaps. If not, if each came to his or her blindness separately, how did they ever manage to find one another? Would it not be difficult for a blind mouse to locate even one fellow mouse with vision, let alone 2 other blind ones? And how, in their tiny darkness, could they possibly have run after a farmer's wife? Or anyone else's wife for that matter? Not to mention, why? Just so she could cut off their tails with a carving knife, is the cynic's answer. But the thought of them without eyes, and now without tails to trail through the moist grass, or slip around the corner of a baseboard, has the cynic who always lounges within me up off his couch and at the window, trying to hide the rising softness that he feels. And by now, I'm on to dicing an onion, which might account for the wet stinging in my own eyes, though Freddie Hubbard's mournful trumpet on Blue Moon, which happens to be the next cut, cannot be said to be making matters any better.
That's great.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
That's really great. And you've nailed the Stuart McLean cadence.
Well, it's again, but anyway, yeah.
It's soothing to listen to again.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
How did they manage to find one another? How
My
they
mother.
managed to find one
What was
another?
it? Vinyl. What was Stuart McLean's
Vinyl
Vinyl
Cafe.
Vinyl Cafe? Thank you. Yeah.
Eddie, Eddie taught me how to do Michael Caine.
Oh gosh. Did I?
Do you remember what you taught me about Michael Caine? That there's a key to doing a Michael Caine impression.
I don't remember.
No,
I don't remember what
it was the key to doing Michael Caine is
three
only
words-
say
three-
3 words,
three words
at a time.
a time. Yeah. That's right. That's right. I
But
remember
you
that.
can actually do the accent, so I butcher it.
Well, sometimes. Yeah. Sorry, I'm just trying to. I was going to do one other one if you want.
Yeah. Before you carry on with that beautiful second poem, I just wanted to acknowledge a second donor tonight. Lovely Lisa Flynn donating $25 with the message, please keep safe and keep singing. So thank you, Lisa, for your lovely generosity.
Thanks, Lisa. Thank
Yeah,
you.
you're going to share another piece of writing with us.
I am, but no, I won't do Stuart McLean on this one because you'll see why.
Okay. Do you want to announce it or you just want to take it away?
I'll just go.
Away you go.
On turning 10. The whole idea of it makes me feel like I'm coming down with something worse than any stomach ache or the headaches I get from reading in bad light. A kind of measles of the spirit, a mumps of the psyche, a disfiguring chicken pox of the soul. And you tell me it's too early to be looking back, but that's because you've forgotten the perfect simplicity of being one and the beautiful complexity introduced by two. But I can lie on my bed and remember every digit. At 4, I was an Arabian wizard. I could make myself invisible by drinking a glass of milk in a certain way. At 7, I was a soldier. At 9, a prince. But now, I'm mostly at the window watching the late afternoon light. And back then, it never fell so solemnly against the side of my treehouse. And my bicycle never leaned against the garage as it does today, all the dark blue speed drained out of it. This is the beginning of sadness, I say to myself, as I walk through the universe in my sneakers. It's time to say goodbye to my imaginary friends. Time to turn the first big number. It seems only yesterday I used to believe that there was nothing under my skin but light. If you cut me, I could shine. But now, when I fall upon the sidewalks of life, I skin my knees. I bleed.
Oh,
Wow.
that was
Isn't that
great.
sweet?
Who's the writer of that, Eddie?
Billy Collins is his name. He's an American poet.
Billy Collins.
Yeah, it's just such a, like his, just the visions of all those things, right? And we've all turned 10.
Absolutely.
And some of you have kids that might turn 10 soon, and it's just like, wow, that transition, like he says, into the first big number. It's just like, wow, that's something,
And I have to say that I'll speak for myself. I am a big girl, and occasionally we do cry. It's true, but being forced into isolating scenarios and in environments where we don't want to be. I don't know about you, but my little internal temper tantrum has come out every now and then. Like I have just been a pestilent little 10-year-old who's just wanting to break out. I'm trying to break out of my frame here. Break out of my frame and just. I want out. I'm like, let me out. And,
there you are.
Sorry, I just, yeah.
In my house, we call them the quarantini meanies.
The quarantini meanies. That's good.
Don't get the quarantini meanies.
No, you
I
can't.
love that.
You can't.
Yeah.
Because, we all are going to, but it's so difficult to ride that wave because, I've been through ups and downs so much in the last 6 weeks. And one of the hardest things personally is living alone. It's like no human contact at all. It's like, wow, that's weird.
Yeah.
Sometimes that's by choice, and I get that. But when it's forced upon you, the isolation and all of that, it's like, wow, this is a whole other level of of isolation and being like just every day, just get up and make your bed, put something on.
Yeah.
Don't sit in your pajamas all day. You know what I mean? It's
I mean,
challenging,
even when you graciously
Adam,
wait,
make your bed
Like,
and put the clothes on.
We're in the pajamas.
That's
I've been wearing these for 6 weeks.
well, even when you popped over to drop off the music to share with our wonderful Mark Camilleri, you were standing at my front door at a very socially distant, responsible thing with your mask on, and I couldn't even see your cute little face. I was like, he's like, I've got the asthma. I have to be careful.
I have asthma. You asked me out too. I'm immunocompromised. It's like I just can't.
Yeah.
Because
And I wanted to just be like, Eddie, it's not going to say.
Kiss me. Somebody touch me.
But we refrained. We refrained from that.
That was weird.
That was weird. Another beautiful donation from our lovely Alison Plomondo, $25. Merci, Alison. Thank you so much, my darling, for your kind words.
Thank you, Alison.
So, Eddie, at this, you've done all sorts of exciting things in your career. I mean, you performed in the West End. You've done so many things in Canada. At this stage of your career, is there something that you like, even if it's like wish list, dream list, is there something that you haven't done that you would love to have a stab at, is there a genre, a type of show that you haven't yet tackled that is on your bucket list of things you'd like to explore as an artist?
I want to play the romantic lead just once. No. Yeah. No, that's an interesting question, Chris. And I knew you were going to ask it, but
you knew I was going to ask it.
Well, I knew you were going to ask something like that. And I would say that more than a specific genre, it's like certain roles, like I always wanted to play Tobias in Sweeney Todd. I always wanted to, those kinds of things, and sort of I've verged a little bit sometimes into light opera kind of stuff, and more all sung through shows, which have been really great. But I would love to tackle a real serious drama and just a straight play that's got just a heart-wrenching, to just try and see, because I know there's somewhere, it's in there somewhere.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? We had a little bit of that with Bloodless that we talked about earlier, because it was dark. I mean, it was dark. And when I played Thénardier in Dre Miz, yes, I said Dre Miz, in Les Mis and Drayton. When I played Thénardier in that, it was dark. And it was challenging,
I remember.
Those kinds of, because someone said to me once, it's like, well, your body doesn't know that you're acting. Like you bring these feelings and these emotions to characters, and when you go so deep into them, it's like, I go home and go, I gotta shake that off. No, there's definitely been.
There's been some people that have experienced, degrees of post-traumatic stress syndrome after really long runs of really difficult dramatic roles, for sure.
Oh yeah.
No, for sure.
We have another beautiful donor, and I just want to say their name. It's so gorgeous. Another $25 donation from Fabrizio Filippo.
Hey, Fab!
Hey, Fabrizio Filippo!
Thank you very much. That's a beautiful name.
Very good actor.
Fabrizio Filippo. Mille grazie. Of course, Fabrizio could be Portuguese as well, but thank you so much. And have you, Eddie, you're a wonderful person to share discourse. I don't know this part of you. Has educating been part? Have you taught at all, or have you been interested in teaching it to some degree to impart all this incredible, you talked about learning from the greats, but you have so much to share with young artists. Have you ever thought about doing a workshop, on voice, or just sharing all the wonderful things that are you?
Yeah, I have been asked to do some voice workshops, and the time just never, worked out. I assisted on some workshops, and I got to be honest, teaching's never been something that interested me, and I know that.
Sure.
I could be. I do have a wealth of knowledge, certainly with voice work and in the musical theater world, but I don't know. It's. I find it. I'll say this because the teachers that are really good at it are really good at it.
Yeah.
And I don't know that I would be. And I'm like, I'd love to share knowledge. I'll sit and talk to someone over a coffee and say, hey, this is what I know and this is what I've learned. And, I've coached a few people for auditions and things to get into schools and stuff like that, which is great fun. But again, in terms of that or like teaching or even direction, it's like, I know I can look at something and go, this is what I would do different. But to start from scratch, like to start teaching from scratch or
Sure.
directing from scratch. It's like that's a skill, and I bow down to the people who have it. It's phenomenal. Yeah.
Well, you can just follow, you know, if you ever find your way into education, you can just follow the educational pedagogy of the likes of Sean Wright and just call all of your students bitch. It'll be great. And
Students, co-workers, peers, parents, anybody.
Exactly.
Audience member.
Family members. Speaking of beautiful, another $25 donation from Uncle Alex and Auntie Beverly Glen.
Hello there, you all right?
So I assume that also, did I do that right? Hello, Alex and Auntie Beverly. Thank you so much. It's pure de brilliant, guys. It's good you.
Thanks a lot there.
Well, listen.
On yourself, wee man.
Well, listen, Eddie, before we invite you to sing us out in song, I'm just going to do a quick You're fine, girl. You get that thing ready. I'm going to share that we are beginning our 7th week. Good Lord, 7th week of Big Girl and Friends. On Monday, we're joined by a fabulous performer, musical director in his own right, the fantastic Chris Sugiuchi. He has performed recently with Hard House, starring in a Rocky Horror in a role that you did, Adam, that I saw you do at Can Stage. Was Can Stage where you did?
With EDDIE GLEN.
That's right. At Frank. That's right. I saw you
with
too.
EDDIE GLEN as Eddie and as Dr. Scott. He was hysterical in those parts. Chris is amazing.
Chris is great. You were
Chris would be a brilliant Frank.
Oh yeah, he was fantastic. You were bald, didn't you? Shave your head for that? You were bald. Yeah. Anyway, and if you're so Chris Sugiuchi is going to join us. So fabulous. That'll be exciting. And as I said, if you want to shout us out on the social media, #BigGirlAndFriends. And Eddie, oh my gosh, we could do this for like another hour. This has been so much fun. Sing us out. Don't even tell us what you're going to sing.
Okay. I have a friend here who's going to help me. Technology's not my friend, so I'll get there when I get there.
You're going to be great. I got you, boo.
I'm nervous and upset because this girl I've never met. I had to meet tonight at 8. I'm taking her to dinner at a charming cafe, but I'm getting tonight at 8. It's 3 in the morning and our dinner's but tonight, and yet already I can see what a nightmare this will be. Tonight won't be just any night. Tonight there will be no morning star. Tonight, I'll see my love tonight, and for us stars will stop where they are. I haven't slept a wink, I only think of our approaching tete-a-tete tonight at 8. I feel a combination of depression and elation. What a state to wait till 8. 2 days, the minutes seem like hours. The hours, they go so slowly, and still the sky is light. In my imagination, I can hear a conversation taking shape tonight at 8. I'll sit there saying absolutely nothing more, a jabber like an egg tonight at 8. 2 more minutes, 3 more seconds, 10 more hours to go. Oh, moonlight, and make this endless day, endless night, tonight at 8.
Yay! Eddie, does your friend have a name?
Yeah, it's Bob. Oh, hang on, shut up.
It's good.
It's Bob.
It's Bob.
Bob Foster.
Well, yeah, look. Right, Ed.
He's got Bob's hair.
That's the only reason I call
It definitely does look. It definitely does look like Bob
All
Foster.
right.
You're right. All right.
Oh, Eddie, we're so delighted you could join us tonight. We had just under the wire another beautiful donation from a friend of yours, Linda Buttery, for $50 that said, "Hey, Eddie, good to see you, my fellow CCH Crusader on the YouTube airwaves. Arts entertainment in Canada must live on." Thank you so much, Linda, for your beautiful generosity. Adam, thank you for joining us from the sandy red island, as we can see behind you. Which
you told me Eddie Glen was going to be here. I showed up.
Yeah, and it also matches Eddie's inside decor and his and the drapes. Everything's happening there.
Just orange everywhere.
Orange everywhere. Eddie, we are thrilled. You guys stay put. We're going to do a family photo. Everyone, thank you so much for joining us, concluding our 6th week. Adam Fraser, can't even gift, of Big Girl and Friends. Join us on Monday for Chris Sugiuchi. And until then, we wish you a gorgeous rest of your weekend, and we'll see you on Monday.
A time like none we've had in the past. Stuck in your home, how long will this last? You're feeling anxious, stress starts to